Most months I read my books in completely random order. This month only 2 of them, and 2 of them were not. This is what I read in July. I started off the month by finishing the glass bead game. I give it 5 stars. It's amazing. If you're here for the plot, this is not the book for you. It is very psychological, very hard on vibes. So if you're a vibes over plot type of person, you might enjoy it. It was written just before or during the beginning of the Second World War. As a child, I would always say I wish I could be a nun without the religious part, and that is exactly what this is. It's just a group of men living together, completely apart from the rest of the world, and their life goal is pure intellectualism. They have developed this game, the glass bead game, in which every science and art that was ever created all comes together. The game is not really the most important part of the book, even though it's the title. It is very much about the psychology of the main person. And it is a book against what they call the age of feuilleton, which was coined, I think, in the 19th century. It was used in French newspapers to describe this trend of anti-intellectualist media, just media for consumption's sake, without any need for critical thought, any debate or discussion. This book was written 80 years ago. It couldn't go harder against what we have right now in our society that feels like is truly rotting our brains and keeping us from any kind of critical thought or intellectual discussion. And I think that is crazy that a book that old can do it, and that's why I really liked it. This book just goes completely the other way. What if we did intellectualism for intellectualism's sake and just contributed nothing to the world instead of consuming all of this thoughtless media and contribute nothing to the world? 2 sides of the same coin. It's not a funny book, but I think that the picture it gives it's amazing, and it's very, very interesting. I can highly recommend this book, and it will make you think about what we're doing together. Like it made me, and it's given me an even bigger dislike of all these social medias. So that was 5 stars for me. Even though it's a pretty slow book, it took me a while to get through it. It's not a big book, but nothing happens. Things happen, but nothing happens, you know? It's one of those books. Then the second book I read this month is The Stepford Wives, which I read in an afternoon, evening. It's not big and it's very readable. I like this one. I feel like if a man read this book, he would think, after finishing it, surely not. And a woman after finishing this book would think, surely yes. You know, it rubs some salt in the modern wound. Then the third book I read, which was not from my random TBR, was actually a book that my husband read, who absolutely never reads books. But I told him, if there's one book I think you would absolutely love, and I hadn't read this book, it's Dungeon Crawler Carl. And he said, okay, the book sounds fun. And he said, I'll make you a deal. If I read this book and I finish it, you have to play old school RuneScape with me. So he read the book, absolutely loved it. I'm playing old school RuneScape. And I read the book as well, and I loved it so much. I do really enjoy video games. I like Dungeons and Dragons, which I think helps a lot in liking this book. Everything is very recognizable. The fantasy itself is not super original, but that's not the point of the book. It's the characters that are so lovable. It's not very serious, but there's undertones, and you can just feel that the author, there's many books more to come in the series, that the author is, at least I hope he will, going to dig a lot deeper. I feel like the premise was definitely set up, but it was one of the most fun books I have ever read, and even my husband loved it. The reason I don't have it to show here, because my husband read it, then I immediately read it, and then we immediately gave it to our friend to read. It was a massive 5 stars to me, and I would absolutely recommend it to pretty much anyone. Unless you really dislike video games, then you're not going to like it. And then the last book I read in July is The Dragon Reborn, which is part 3 in the Wheel of Time series. And I'm starting to think that this series might just not be for me. It's too slow. I feel like so little happens, and the characters start at the book kind of scattered around the world map. They just take 600 pages to travel in a direction everyone, and then they meet each other, and there is a sort of boss battle that is 4 pages, and the book ends. And there's this massive overarching plot, and in a book this big, the plot that is added to the big story is a tiny little stone, and it feels too slow, too frustrating. I really don't like the interactions between the characters. It doesn't feel human. If I met my friends after multiple life-threatening experience, I would be hugging them. Even if you have a fight or if you disagree, you would be so happy to see people that you love and trust after experiencing horrible things. These characters, though, they do not care about each other. It is so weird to see. It feels very unhuman. The interactions, the world building is good, it's massive, but I feel like that's the only thing that I really like about these books. The problem I have is that when I went to the bookstore, I found this is part 3, I found part 5 and 6. I don't have part 4, but I have part 5 and 6, so I feel like I will keep reading at least until part 6 and see where it goes, but I feel like by book 3 you should be hooked, which I'm unfortunately not. So I'll keep trying, and please let me know if you read this. Does something change after book 3? Because yippee! Those were my July books. So this week I am on summer break, which is great, and I want to read a lot more books. So August, I'm hoping to at least read 7 to 8 books. I'm currently on this book, 1415. It's about the Battle of Agincourt. It's a little bit dense, so I'm not going through it very fast. I've also read the second part to Dungeon Crawler Call, but I'll tell that in the August recap. So I'm hoping about 2 books a week, and I'm hoping to go through this pretty fast. I've made a goal of myself to at least read 50 pages of this a day, and I might read a fantasy or something next to it just to sort of take the edge off how dense it is, because it's a lot to take in all at once. If you're reading 100 pages, it's just 100 pages of information. But so far, it's very interesting, but it doesn't go fast. If you have any recommendations of good books you've read recently and you think I'll like them, I would absolutely love to hear it. I'm always looking for new books to read. And if you've read any of the books that I've read or are reading the same ones, I would also love to hear what you're thinking. And thanks so much for watching. It means a lot. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!